Alright, so now you can see all the discovery jobs I've built. If they are scheduled to run automatically, you'll see when they're scheduled to run, and you can also see when they last ran. But let's launch a job manually. I'll select the job I just built and click Discover Now. If you haven't run discovery jobs before, you should be aware that they're going to take a little while to run. Sometimes they may take a half hour or more depending on your network and the size of the job. Again, that's why I like to let the jobs run immediately when I create them so I can make a note of how long that job is going to take. Now that the job is finished, you'll return to the Network Sonar Discovery page. Select the discovery that you just ran, select the radial button, and then click Import All Results. This will take you to the Job Results wizard. This wizard will let you choose which objects to add to the database for monitoring. If you run a scheduled discovery and you are not automatically importing the results, you'll also need to select which objects you want to add to the database for monitoring. On the Devices tab, you see the different types of nodes that were found and how many of each type, but not the individual nodes themselves. So I can see I have found some Windows servers, some Cisco devices, and so forth. I could choose to ignore all the Windows boxes, but not choose which individual Windows boxes to ignore. That will come later. But notice that everything is checked by default here. The default assumption when you run a discovery manually is that everything you find you're going to want to monitor. That's different than the scheduled discovery jobs, in that scheduled discovery jobs assume you don't want to monitor anything that's found until you tell Orion explicitly which elements to monitor. So here's another good reason to run your new discovery jobs manually when they're first created, so that you can start monitoring newly discovered elements right away. Scheduled discovery jobs just run quietly in the background and then wait for you to review the discovery results before they start to monitor anything, unless you've configured the scheduled job to automatically import the objects discovered. Alright, I've got the device types I want selected, so now I click Next. On the Interfaces tab, again, I'm being asked what types of interfaces I'm going to want to monitor, not which individual interfaces to monitor. But now, based on the device types I selected on the last tab and the interface types I've selected at the top of the Interfaces tab, at the bottom of the screen I can actually see which individual interface by interface type I'm going to be importing into the database. And I can choose to exclude specific interfaces so I can make broad selections if I want, or be very granular in my selections. But again, notice that basically everything is selected by default. When you run jobs manually, you have to tell it more what not to monitor than what to monitor. On the Volumes tab again, we're choosing what type of volumes to import. Notice it defaults to including fixed disk volumes, but not removable volumes. In various places, you'll sometimes see contextual tabs based on the Orion modules you've installed. For instance, since I have Server and Application Monitor installed, the Discovery job scans for certain common applications which I can choose to start monitoring immediately as well. Once you have your selections made, click Next to jump to the import preview. Now we will have a chance to preview the import based on your earlier device type selection. Once more, notice they are all selected by default. At this point, you can exclude specific nodes if you'd like. You can simply uncheck nodes you don't want to add to the database right now, or you can choose to ignore certain nodes that you don't want to monitor and they won't be included in future results for this discovery job. You're basically saying, yes, I know this node is out there, but I'm not planning on monitoring it, so please don't show it in my discovery results. Finally, click Import to add the selected nodes to the database and begin monitoring the node as well as the individual elements on the node, the volumes, applications, and interfaces you've selected. On the Results tab, you can see the details of each individual element that has been added to the database. At this point, I am done with the discovery job. But again, because I have Server and Application Monitor installed, I have some additional tabs. From the Results tab, I can click Next and go into Adding Application Monitors. You can see more on how to discover applications in the Server and Application Monitor video training series. So I'm just going to click Finish so I can get on with the business of monitoring. We now return to the Network Sonar Discovery page, where we can see that our discovery demo has a status of finished and was run on this date.